Operation Omega.
We have reached the final chapter. Simon begins his battle with Orochimaru. Orochimaru quickly turns to a snake and tries to bite into Simon, but Jason appears from nowhere, stabbing a blade into the tail of Orochimaru's snake form, more specifically in the back, to where when Orochimaru reverted back to his normal form, the sword and blade was now in one of his feet.
Done. You'll pay for it.
In due time we will, Jason said. As they quickly ran, Thomas began firing more missiles at the soldiers, as it became clear they would not be able to save the island yet. But then all of a sudden, a gunshot was heard, and Simon fell to the ground, having been hit in the chest. Simon thought he was dead, but not quite, as he saw 3 portals in a great amount of light, a golden portal with a heavenly glow and feeling to it, a portal in the middle that was gray in color, almost like in between the darkness of hell but the brightness of heaven. And speaking of hell, the third portal with black and red coloration. 3 beings stepped out, each one out of one of the portals. Out of the heavenly portal stepped a warrior in golden armor with white accents and flaming hair at the back of his horned helmet. Within the middle portal, a jackal-like creature with Egyptian armaments, but also more modern clothing. And the third, a warrior with a leather jacket, blue shirt, blue jeans, but also silver gauntlets with chains around them connected to small purple-colored blades that are holstered on the back of the warrior, with a belt buckle that resembled architecture of Greece, and hair that glowed blue with power. They introduced themselves: Loki of Norse mythology, Anubis of Egyptian mythology, and Hades of Greek mythology. How could this be? You're all from different realms, and what's happening? From there, they told Simon the story of how Zeus had been corrupted by darkness, opening holes in time, wiping out the pantheons and mythological figures of all mythologies, including modern religions. And the few survivors took in their places. Loki took over ruling heaven. Anubis began ruling purgatory, and Hades took over ruling hell. It was natural for Hades and Anubis, as Hades was the god of the underworld back in Greece, while Anubis was the god of death in Egypt, so they took to their roles easily. Loki took some time in maturing, but after having lost his family, he grew to mature, to rule over heaven. But they told Simon a simple thing: it's not yet your time. Simon awoke, having been healed, as Orochimaru had reappeared. Jenna was fighting him, but wasn't doing too well, until Simon grabbed a gun and blasted Orochimaru, heavily disfiguring him. As Orochimaru began to regenerate, he cursed, "You will pay for this. I will return and face off a new generation of heroes. It was in the 2070s, and you will regret having crossed me. When that day comes, it comes, but not today," Simon said. Orochimaru, who left, simply yelling at them, "Hatoshi!" which translated from Japanese to English translates to, "I'm fed up." After Orochimaru disappeared, they destroyed the terrorists' base, and they deemed the mission a failure. But it wasn't a failure, for while they were gone, the government had been re-evaluated and reconverted, and now with new management, all the dark sides of the program were cut out, but Simon chose to retire, as he believed his mission was now complete. Jason continued to serve in the military, while Jenna had decided to spend out the time she had while slowly aging to live out her life while still working for the government, and even fell in love and had a few kids. And by the time she had stopped slowly aging to where she started aging normally, she was now 21 by the year 2054, where now her children were all about 1 year old. While she had stopped the slow aging and was now aging normally, same with her husband, who had a similar condition. She had a son she named Rex Jones, and due to certain laws, due to an alliance between America, Australia, and Canada, he was granted automatic citizenship to both, but he took mainly to the Australian culture, but was born in America in Kentucky. She had a younger son named Raptor, who was the result of a government agent of another government having stolen some of Rex's DNA and modified it of another child off in another part of the country, where they had tied his DNA to a velociraptor. And by the time Jenna discovered this, she took both Raptor and the velociraptor into her care, with Raptor being raised as the younger brother to Rex, while the Raptor, given the name Fang, was also treated like a son of hers. In a reunion of Operation Omega held 10 years after the initial mission, Simon was just fine. His encounter with the gods had actually cured him of his cancer. Thomas was well known across the country as an incredible soldier. And overall, things ended all nicely. And little did they know that Jenna's children would be part of the greatest generation of heroes known to man, as by 2070, Rex would be known as Pizza Man, with incredible powers. But there is still incredible threats down the road for our world, as the US had officially approved the Neo City plan to build an incredible futuristic city where this new generation of heroes will be held. And then by 2070, the island had come out of the time warp, with one of the students there, Shade Holmes, the descendant of Sherlock Holmes, began to do detective work over in Japan, specifically in the capital city of Japan, Neo, Japan. And with that, our story is over.